G'day viewers, let's talk about the new route Tharandter Rampe, Dresden to Chemnitz. Now Tharandter Rampe, near as I can figure, means big bloody hill in the Tharandter forest. And it is. It's big and it's steep and it's challenging and it's a lot of fun. Alright, what do you get in this one? Well, you get to drive from Dresden to Chemnitz. That bit's obvious. You go through a forest, also obvious. I had to uninstall all my other DLCs because just about everything German seems to layer into this thing. So, to work out exactly what you get, I got rid of everything. You get the 363, the German Gronk. And you get a bunch of services ranging from 10 minutes up to about half an hour. Lots of shunting to do. You get the 143 and the 766. They're joined together, of course. One's on one end, the other one's on the other end. The 766, if you don't know it, is a cab car for the 143. You get a heap of services ranging from about 20 minutes to a bit over an hour, running all the routes, some of the route, running it backwards, running it forwards, all sorts of fun. Now look, that one's only a minute. What's going on there? But anyway, then you get the stars. We get the Railpool 185. Now this is a new livery for the 185. It's a slightly different locomotive, so it doesn't layer in or substitute in anywhere else. It's only on this route at the moment. That may change. It's about the same to drive, feels the same, sounds the same, but it's got a few Railpool touches, which you'll see when we drive it in a moment. It's got a bunch of services for you to play with, ranging from a couple of minutes up to a bit over an hour. Lots of freight tooling around on the route. And now, of course, we come to the absolute star of the route, the BR612 by Mike of TSG. This is the first tilt train in the game, which is pretty exciting in itself. It's got a new safety system to go along with that lets you speed. Yes, that's right, you can actually go faster than the speed limit in Germany without being taken out by PZB, which is awesome. It's a diesel hydraulic multiple unit, and it's really interesting to drive it up and down the really steep hills of Tharandter Rampe. I think you'll enjoy it. It's currently one of my favourite locos in the game. Gronk's probably the favourite, but this one's a close second. It's a lot of fun to drive. It's totally different from the others, which makes it a really interesting experience and brings back a bit of a spark into the gameplay. So, I think you'll see that when we drive some trains, but you can probably tell it's got me a bit excited. The 612 and the 185 are the stars of the route. Quite a bit of fun. If we pop back out to the main, you also get 6 scenarios. Fast line to Freiburg, double header, cut and shunt, traffic jam, lots of tilting going on, better late than never, thundering through. So there's a bit of a selection there on the scenario front as well. So there you go. Let's drive some trains. I've chosen the BR185 in Railpool Livery first up to drive first. Let's just start this up and have a look outside. So it is basically the same as the other 185s, except that it's in Railpool, which is a fairly distinctive livery. They're a rail leasing organisation, and they keep their stuff pretty clean, so it's a pretty clean livery. Alright, time to jump in the cab. You can also see the other locos from the route over there, the 143 and the 363. Not going to drive those ones because we've driven them all before. Let's get started, shall we? So we want to put our reverser handle in and go to the neutral position. Let's get rid of the desk light, annoying thing. Okay, lift the brake, and let's pop over here and turn on our safety systems. Now, this loco supports LZB, but the route doesn't have LZB, so it'll come into play later when it lays in somewhere else. We have PZB, which is the speed and signal behaviour safety system, and CIFA, which is vigilance. You can set your PZB brake mode if you want to, or need to, or whatever. Set our headlights, let's release the parking brake, and before we sit down again, let's turn on cruise control, which loves yelling at us going, RFB. Anyway, we have to drive ahead, so let's finish getting going. Let's go into forwards. Let's release our brake handles. There we go. That's better. And AFB is governed by the independent brake on the rail driver, so we're in a yard. Let's just set that to 25, actually 20, because I think 25 is the speed limit. Let's do that again outside. Okay. Let's open our windows. And let's get moving. So I'll just give it a bit of throttle, and hopefully that'll apply some power and release our brakes in a moment. There they go. Brakes are going off. And we now cruise ahead. We're about to run over a 500 hertz magnet. So I'll just acknowledge that when we go over it. And that's just telling me there's a red signal up here. Now I should... Can I use the phone in this one to contact the signaller? I can. Proceed as signals indicate. Well, to me that says shunting okay. So let's do that. Let's just go straight through it. I'll acknowledge it though. It's our vigilance control, Mr. Sifa. 500 hertz has expired. So we're just cruising along. So this is telling me it's a 60 zone. And we're going out towards the main. And I should just be able to acknowledge that. No, it's going to stop me anyway. Duh. Okay. I don't actually know why that stopped me, but I don't pretend to know everything about PZB. So that's fine. I've reset everything with PZB end and acknowledge, and off we go again, heading to our stopping point. Now I'm still going to stick to 20 k's, even though we're going out to the main. We're allowed to do 60. I am, or was just until just then, limited to 45 by PZB. So that's fine. Just running down here to the end of the yard. Now I understand why the game works this way, but we're going an awfully long way to be able to run around onto another track. So that's okay. Let's just start braking now. Alright, so it wants us to go back. Let's just have a look. It's all automatic points, so that's fine. And let's go into reverse. Let's just have a look outside so we can see what's going on. Release the brakes, a little bit of throttle. We should see this thing start to move. Now what we do have up there is a little shunting signal. So as soon as we start to move, so the game knows for sure what direction we're going. There we go. I am just going to jump back into the cab and go contact signaller. Proceed at restricted speed. Excellent. Because that little signal there that's now at proceed was at stop. So we're just heading up towards our carriages. Which in this case I think are Habans from memory.
Zifa.
Let's go on the shiny side. Now I'm not taking this out on the line, I'm just doing this little quick shunting scenario, or service rather, just to show you. We've driven the 185 heaps before, so if you want to see the 185 in action, there's plenty of videos about it. I will probably do a tutorial for this thing at some point.
Zifa.
So I'm just going to start slowing down. These are sometimes called the singing train. Just let AFB kick us off again. Which it will. And then I'll just knock the throttle off. And just let it drift in here. A little bit of braking. Okay. I always love the silly couple of noises. They are now coupled up. You figured it out? Go on, figure it out. We have coupled up to them. We did it, honest. Hey, it did figure it out. Okay. Alright, that's the end of that service anyway. So the 185 is basically the same as the other one. And let's flit off now and drive the 612. Here we are again in the BR612. Now we're sitting at Dresden. We're heading this service to Chemnitz. I'm not going to take it the whole way because this needs to be a quick video. But let's start getting stuff set up. So insert our reverser handle, pop over here, brake key, and then turn the brake key on. And now we will jump out of our chair. While we're here, we'll might as well open the windows. If we want to hear the diesel. And let's pop down the corridor here. Hello people, how are we all today? And let's turn on CIFA, so Vigilance Control, PZB, and GNT. Now GNT is the new one, and GNT is all about the tilt controls. This is the children's section, as you can tell by the decoration, but there's no children in this game, only zombies. So it's a very sad world because there's no children in it at all. Okay, let's shut that door, sit back in the chair. Now this train doesn't have any cruise control or anything like that. Let's turn the power onto the train, and doors aren't opened, it's just made sure. Let's turn on the tilt control, and this will start up a little self-test. Or should. There we go. Let's have a look. You finished already? Oh no, you're still doing it. There we go. I've noticed in the test it only tilts the first one, but normally it tilts the whole train when it's driving. So we'll see that shortly. Alright, now that it's finished that, we can finally open the doors. Now, over on here, on what would be the timetable Ebola display, we get some information about the GNT system, which will help us to drive, but the text is awfully small, I have to say. That's okay. Alright, we can lock our doors. Let's release the brakes. And we are operating... Put our reverser into forward. Ooh, there's one thing we haven't done yet. We haven't turned on our headlights. Okay, and we've got a green signal to go. Germans never honk their train horns. Going to start the hydraulic drive ticking over. Now, the hydraulic control with the rail driver, put it into position, it automatically goes into hold. I'd kind of prefer that it had a hold position in the middle, because this does get a little bit tedious, to be honest. Now you can see by the flashing 70 and 85 down there that we are in PZB monitoring, which means we can't go over 45 kilometres an hour. So we're just cruising out of here. We also have a speed limit sign on the next signal, so I will acknowledge that. Now I'm not going to drive the whole route, but I am going to take you up. Thank you, Sifa. I am going to take you up Tharandter Rampe, just so you can get a bit of a feel about how steep it is and what the scenery on the route looks like. And you can probably already tell through the positive tones in my voice that I do like this route. I actually think it's probably the most fun one in the game, to be honest with you. So now you don't need to wait for the end to hear what I'm going to say at the end of it about what I think. Now we are getting a little bit quick, so I'm just going to put on some braking from the hydraulics, because I don't want to go over the 40, because that's our current speed limit. So the engines are helping me bring that back down now. So it's not strictly dynamic braking, it's just reverse acceleration, let's call it that. And now that we're heading uphill again, Sifa, and I pressed the wrong key. I pressed the tab button instead of Q. That's okay. That's fine. I'll acknowledge that, and away we go again. That was me, not the train. Just saying. I stuffed that up. Some more grunt because we're going uphill. You will discover with this train, whether you're using a controller or the rail driver or the keyboard, it's very handsy. Very, very handsy. You're just constantly doing stuff. You've got hands going everywhere. And that's what makes this fun. Mike, the guy that put this thing together, did an awesome job of it. So it's a really cool train. Some more juice and acknowledge the Sifa and press the right button this time. So we've got 2 units coupled together in this one. Scenery around us is pretty good. Decent frame rate for any yard. So yards are often a bit low. Now we're out of monitoring now, but we're not yet out of the 40 speed zone, I don't think. I don't think that comes off until just around this corner up here somewhere. So we'll just keep on cruising for the moment. Here we're coming up to the 70, so when the back of the train passes these 2 7 signs, we'll be able to speed up. Have a look down the back. There we go, the back of the train's past the signs. So now we can pick up some speed. Now I find myself going back to the keyboard, to be honest, to accelerate the hydraulic drive, because the rail driver control using that's just a bit annoying. I wish it worked a little bit differently, but it doesn't. What I'd love to see is throttle off on the detent, a hold position, and applying. And similarly on the other way, off, hold, and reducing. I think that would work better. But that's okay. So it does kind of work that way when you're reducing. So I only wish it worked that way when you were applying. The external scenery is very Bavarian, lots of colourful buildings. Quite pretty to look at. Quite nice. It's all a little bit different. And the water in the river has got a nice level of reflection to it. It looks quite waterish, to be honest. I think they've done a nice job on this water. And that's good, because there's been so many routes where the job on the water has been a little less than optimal. Some classic German graffiti on the end of the station here. And the stations on this route, this is an East German route, so the stations are a little bit different to the ones from the West German areas. And they often have unique characteristics like this wooden formwork. Thank you, Sifa. Let's do some more accelerating. We're not on the ramp yet, but it is getting steeper. What I might just do is actually put on the HUD so you can see how steep it's getting. And let me just move Mr. Rail Driver over here. So we've got an 80 zone now, so we can speed up some more. GNT is telling me that I can do 90, so it's put my speed up to 90. Coming into 100 zone now. We are coming up on a 0.6 gradient, which, believe me, is nothing. Oh, juice. That signal's telling me we're going to transition onto the high-speed line. Castle-y thing. Now, I'm not sure you have to actually acknowledge the fact that you're diverging or not. You know, just erring on the side of caution. And I've got to watch my speed. I'm actually a little high, but the gradient will wash that off pretty quickly. Got to be careful because there's PZB speed detectors around the place. Now, of course, I have to take the throttle all the way back up again. See what I mean about the movements? This is the only thing that I find just a little bit aggravating. Everything else I really love. It does have some weird sound moments here and there, but you know, what train in the game doesn't? .110 zone now with GNT. That lets us up to 140 by the looks. Even this 1.4%, nothing. Not yet. It's not as steep as a Rosa, but it's steep. We've got a 90 zone. Actually, no, that wasn't a 90 zone. That was just a pole number. It's okay, don't mind me. We do have a slowdown zone coming up here somewhere. And we're heading downhill now as well. There's our slowdown zones. We have to come down to 100. G&T we can be a little bit over. There's a line of perfect German white cars over there. G&T is now yelling at me, but I haven't figured out why yet, but you don't seem to have to do anything. Usually just do the resets and acknowledge and it goes, yeah, alright. Down below 100 anyway, we're all good. Which I think maybe it was flashing at me because it's telling me it's not going to do anything here. We'll certainly do tilting. Hopefully I can get round here before the curve finishes. I want you to see the tilt. There we go. Yeah, you can definitely see the tilting action. Safer. We're back up to 120 now, so we can power up again. And here we go with the levers and 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 the levers, and we give up and go to the keyboard because it's quicker. Just hold down one key. A warning that we're coming down to a 90 zone, and that one has a magnet, so you have to acknowledge it. So I'll just cut some power off and cipher. So do you see what I mean? That you're just constantly doing stuff on this route. GT's yelling at me again. So slow us down and get us down to the 90. We're all good now. We're on a 1.2 gradient, so just powering a little bit up, not a lot. We still need to stay under 90. Slow down a bit much. That's okay. And we're coming into a 60 anyway, so I'll pretend I meant it. That's a good thing to do, isn't it? Oops. I just went over a speed magnet. I was going too fast. Sigh. I am a bit of a PZB nuffy, I'm afraid. I think, can we accelerate yet? Yes, we can. Brakes are coming off, and away we go. Well, I don't have to worry about that 60 zone anymore. I either missed acknowledging something or we ran over speed magnets, one or the other. And we now are in monitoring again, so I can't go over 45. I must have just not acknowledged something because here's the speed magnets here. All good, as they say. Don't think either of those reds applies to me. No, all good. G&T's flashing at me again. Still in monitoring, so I'll just power off so we don't go over that speed. We are going to start going uphill. Our fairly nice water again with a bit of reflectivity from the buildings. Quite like that. I think they're finally getting water right. Good to see. Powering and powering and powering. And we're out of monitoring. So I can now actually go up to the speed limit, which is 60. 1.5%, not on the ramp yet. And we're coming into an 80 zone. 5% gradient, still nothing. It's actually quite pretty. The sun through the trees is nice. Oops, going a little bit quick. You know, I genuinely don't know what I did wrong that time. What didn't I acknowledge? You know, on my practice run for this, I did really well. Oh well. See? Don't get out of the train when you've got PZB turned on, because it bites you. And of course we're back in monitoring now, brakes coming off, we'll start moving. Now we're on the ramp, 2.5%. Even though I said don't get out because PZB bites you, just want to look at the river. The nice bridge. Back in monitoring because I was naughty, so I'll just keep the speed down for a little while. Not that we're going to accelerate like crazy anyway. Bavarian countryside. We out of monitoring yet? Not yet. Must be soon though. Only coming into a 60 zone. Once I come out of monitoring, what you'll be amazed at is this thing actually can accelerate up to now 2.5, 2.6% grade. And we're out of monitoring, so let's go. Max power on a 2.6% grade, and it accelerates quite happily. Actually going to have to bring it down. Not bring it up so much. Coming into a 70 zone. Another station. Constantly doing stuff. Frame rate out here, very, very decent. Away from the yard, huge. .7%. I think this is the steepest route apart from Arosa. It's the second steepest route in the game. Down below the limit. So what are my first thoughts about this route? Well, you kind of already know. I have to say I really like it. I think I actually love it. The workmanship on the 612 and the 185 are really good. They're both nicely modelled. They both have pretty good sound. And they both drive nicely. And this one's so full of monkey motion to just keep moving. It's quite entertaining. I'd have to ask GTG for a new throttle lever at the end of this though. So I think I'm wearing it out. And the ramp's challenging, because you can see the gradients just change constantly and you have to keep reacting to it. So you're always on your toes. You can drive it without the HUD. I've done end-to-end runs without it now. If you think going up the hill's fun, you should try coming down. I'm not going to do that today. But, yeah, look, I think I would quite happily go out and buy this one, and I'll certainly be giving it a positive review, so I think it's well deserved. The scenery is good. It works quite nicely. I'm happy. Gameplay's good. Lots of services. So anyway, I'm going to leave you at this point with the knowledge that the route is worth the cash. So if you like German trains, grab it. If you don't like German trains, what I'd suggest, or you don't know if you like German trains, maybe you like UK or the Americans, wait for a sale and grab it and give it a try, and maybe you'll find a new genre of trains that you like, and it'll introduce you to the German safety systems. And if you're used to ATCS and Axis in America, well, meet PZB and you'll think the American ones are pretty easy after that. PZB is a ripper. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, chuck a comment down below. Even if you didn't, chuck a comment down below. I always like to hear your feedback. And subscribe and click the tinkly thing. Go out and buy it. So yeah. Thanks for watching, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. I always like to get your feedback in the form of likes and comments because they help me understand what you want. Give the channel a subscribe and click on the tinkly thing so you don't miss out on any new stuff. And thanks for your ongoing support. And please, be safe out there.